Okay, hello everybody. I wanted to start off tonight with a quote, and this is a personal favorite of mine from Maya Angelou, and that's that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And this is a personal favorite of mine for a couple reasons, but mostly because I think it does a really great job of showing how our brain processes the experiences that we have. And it's not just the facts and the figures and what actually happened, but it's how that experience made us feel that ultimately affects how we remember it and how we make decisions moving forward. And it's why we have phrases like trust your gut and follow your heart, that really what matters and what affects us going forward in our decision making is how something made us feel. And we're going to think about that today in light of how you're marketing your organization from a diversity and inclusion standpoint to your candidates. Now, this is a metaphor that I really like, and I'm going to ask you guys to raise your hand if you've ever been invited to a party and you just had no idea what you're getting into and you're really nervous. Maybe you didn't know what to wear, who else was going to be there, what the vibe was going to be, am I going to have fun? It just doesn't feel great, right? No one wants to be in that situation. And I hate to tell you guys this, but if this is what your diversity content looks like, that's what you're doing to your candidates. The people from different backgrounds smiling and laughing together, that EEO statement saying that we won't discriminate against XYZ, really necessary stuff that you have to have, but if that's all you're doing, you're only inviting candidates to apply, right? And I love this phrase here that you can't dance if you're not invited, right? Like, I'm not bashing the diversity content, you gotta have it, but you gotta take it one step further and show the candidates what they can expect when they get to your organization. So I challenge you guys to ask yourself, how is your organization's diversity and inclusion content making your candidates feel? If it's making them feel uneasy, not quite sure what to expect when they get there, you're not doing enough and you need to fill in the blanks for them. Because what candidates are looking for is inclusion. And as they're considering you as a workplace, they're asking themselves, what do I bring to the table? What do I need? And how will my future colleagues in this future organization respond to those needs and set me up to succeed at that organization? And so in order to answer those questions, you have to create inclusion, not diversity content. And inclusion content is stories from your team members that demonstrate an experience that they've had where they've experienced inclusion in your organization. And by sharing those stories, you're sharing the proof that you are who you say you are. So those broad diversity statements don't mean anything without the support to back them up. The stories are the proof that those statements actually happen on a day-to-day basis. Number two is that validation from a story that it happened once, it can happen again, right? So if someone else at the organization has experienced that inclusion, chances are you will too. And then the further validation that there's someone like you here thriving, chances are I have a good shot of that as well. So we're going to look at some other examples of inclusion stories in action. The first from Joanna from BAE Systems. This is her story. I had my deafness for years. Took a toll on my job, took a toll on me. When I first came to BAE Systems, I was upfront about my disability. I said, you're going to need to accommodate me. I'm going to need this, and not once did they say no. My manager asked me, you're going to be doing a lot of face-to-face, one-on-one with the customer. Can you do that? And I'm like, absolutely, yes, put me in there. Despite my disability, they put me in front of the customer, and that meant the world to me. So that's Joanna's story. And if as a candidate with a disability, you hear that and you're thinking of applying to BAE Systems, you hear, I can ask for help. They won't blink. The organization's ready for me. They have the accommodations ready for me. And just like Joanna, my value and potential will be recognized. Let's look at another example of LGBTQ in the workplace from Lucas. And his story is that when my partner and I first got engaged, ACC threw us a huge engagement party. I think about 100 people came. Decorations were off the wall. The food was off the wall. When we left, my then fiance looked at me and said, I've never seen a company do this for someone. And if you're a candidate who identifies as LGBTQ, you hear this story and you hear, I can talk about my partner at work, my milestones will be celebrated, and I will be accepted for who I am. And that says a lot to someone who is considering you as a workplace. Third example here from Expedia Group, from Dipti. Our team had a brainstorming meeting. I was very shy and didn't share my idea. When I shared it with my manager after the meeting, he said, that's a really great idea. Why didn't you bring it up in the meeting? And I said, what if it wasn't a great idea? He told me not to worry about that and to always voice my ideas. The whole experience taught me that I was probably being too hard on myself. It's okay to not always be right, and you can learn from those experiences. So if you're a woman applying to a male-dominated industry or maybe a male-dominated team, you hear this story and you hear, I will have a voice on my team, that my teammates care about what I think and that my voice matters. My manager is approachable, so if you have an idea, you have a concern, you have anything that you need to talk to them about, you can go and talk to them and they will listen to you. And thirdly, I don't have to be perfect at everything. And that means a lot. So thank you guys. So I hope your final takeaways for today is to create inclusion, not just diversity content, because all of your candidates deserve to find a place where they can dance. Thank you.